It is 2 a.m. on a quiet Tuesday night. The house is completely dark, perfectly silent except for the heavy, labored breathing echoing from the hallway. You wake up, instinctively reach down to the soft orthopedic bed next to you. Your heart suddenly drops. It is empty. The slow, painful scraping of old claws against the hardwood floor tells you exactly where they are. You find your sweet, aging dog squeezing their tired, aching body under the cold guest room bed or pushing themselves deep into the darkest corner of your closet. You crawl on the floor, gently reaching your hand out to stroke their graying muzzle, but they do not wag their tail. They just let out a heavy sigh and slowly turn their head away from you. Tears sting your eyes as a crushing wave of helplessness washes over you. You look at your best friend of 15 years, agonizing over why, in their final and most vulnerable moments, they are actively choosing to push you away. In that devastating moment, human logic takes over, and the pet parent guilt completely consumes you. You watch them retreat into the shadows, and you assume the absolute worst. You might think they are isolating themselves because their mind is fading to canine dementia. You worry that you have not made them comfortable enough, or you believe that old, heartbreaking myth society tells us dogs just want to die alone. You feel a deep, agonizing rejection, believing your dog is actively shutting you out of their final journey. But if you believe this sudden isolation is a sign of a broken bond, or that they simply no longer care about your comfort, the 15,000-year-old evolutionary encyclopedia, encoded deep inside their DNA, is about to politely, beautifully prove you wrong. Because what human psychology interprets as a cold, heartbreaking withdrawal, modern neurobiology recognizes as the ultimate, self-sacrificing genetic protocol of protection. To truly understand the absolute majesty of a dog's final days, we must strip away our human concepts of death and look deep into the microscopic architecture of their failing nervous system. Dogs process their entire existence through scent. As your dog's internal organs begin to systematically shut down, their cellular metabolism drastically alters. They begin emitting specific, invisible chemical markers, the literal biological scent of extreme vulnerability. When their amygdala, the ancient, primal survival engine of their brain, intercepts these failing metrics, it sounds a massive evolutionary alarm. Deep in their ancestral DNA, a canine knows that a weak, dying pack member is a neon beacon for dangerous predators. Dying animal puts the entire family den at immediate risk. So, they execute a brutal, selfless genetic command. They do not drag themselves under that cold bed because they want to die alone. They do it to physically remove the crosshairs of danger away from you. They are biologically hardwired to isolate themselves so that you, their pack, can remain safe. And then, science observes an even more staggering phenomenon. Have you ever noticed a dying dog suddenly stand up, eat a full meal, or rest their heavy head on your lap for one random afternoon? Neurologists call this terminal lucidity. It is a biological supernova. The failing central nervous system releases a massive, final surge of adrenaline and dopamine, completely masking the toxic buildup of cortisol and physical agony. They are borrowing against their absolute, last drops of physiological fuel. But they aren't using it to survive. They are using it for something entirely different. This is exactly where the cold, clinical data of evolutionary biology transforms into the most breathtakingly beautiful love letter ever written. Society will often dismiss your pain, telling you it is just a dog. But science confirms what your shattered heart already knows: you are losing a biological soulmate. You need to let the guilt go. When they gather that massive, final surge of adrenaline just to walk over to you, or when you crawl under that bed and pull their fragile body into your lap, their fading brain does something extraordinary. Despite the systemic organ failure, inhaling your unique chemical signature triggers one final, massive flood of oxytocin into their bloodstream. Your specific scent acts as a profound, pharmaceutical-grade painkiller, physically dulls their agony. It shuts down the fear receptors in their mind. They don't know what death is, but they know what safety is. Safety is the rhythm of your heartbeat. In their final hours, their nervous system strips away the entire world until only one thing remains. Not the pain, not the fear of the dark, not the failing body. You, just you. Until the very last breath you. Their isolation wasn't a rejection. It was an evolutionary masterpiece of devotion. A biological vow that said, I will protect you until my body simply cannot anymore. However, there is a strict, heartbreaking biological boundary that every pet parent must be fiercely awake to. While resting in dark spaces is a natural evolutionary protocol, active suffering is not. You must not romanticize prolonged physical agony by assuming they are just fading peacefully. If your dog is hiding but constantly panting while resting, unable to hold down water, trembling intensely, or whining softly, do not let your own fear of letting go prolong their distress. Dogs are masters at masking pain. By the time they show it, the physiological agony is immense. When medicine can no longer cure, our responsibility shifts to preventing suffering. Consulting your veterinarian about compassionate, peaceful euthanasia is not giving up. It is the heaviest, most selfless act of love you will ever perform, biologically taking their physical pain away and bravely carrying it in your own heart as grief. The agonizing grief you feel right now is simply the exact biological measurement of the unconditional love you shared. Stop second-guessing yourself. You gave them a beautiful life, and their DNA proves it. I want to dedicate this space to the good boys and girls waiting for us across the rainbow bridge. What was your dog's name? What was the absolute most beautiful or quirky thing they did in their final days? Please, honor their memory and tell me their story in the comments below. I read every single one. And speaking of grief, when a dog passes away, why do the surviving pets in the house suddenly change their routine? Sometimes sleeping by the front door for months. Do they actually understand death? The neurochemical reality of how surviving animals process grief will completely shatter you. Make sure to subscribe, and we will unlock that profound secret next time.